too crazy.
I don't have time for that either.
I don't have time.
I don't even know how to play dice. Like street dice on the street. I walked by games all the fucking time as a kid. I'd stop for 2 minutes, said hello, but I didn't play.
There was a 30% chance that someone was going to get punched or shot if there was ever a dice game. There's a 30% chance. I always thought that was like, this is like a high level of potential violent activity because people get mad. They lose. They think someone's cheating. Someone's got loaded dice. Someone says they bet this, but they didn't bet this. They bet that. And it's like arguments and shit.
Dog, I used to go to this place. Not used to go. I went twice with a crazy friend of mine, Chris. You fuck 181st Street. It was a parking garage, maybe 6 floors. You just pulled in. There was a guy standing there, and all of a sudden he'd open up the door, and you pulled into a car elevator that put your car up. The car brought you up to the 6th floor. You fucking come out of your car. You walk out of the elevator. Joe, you thought you were in fucking Vegas.
Really?
Everything was dark. Poker, blackjack, all that shit.
Ooh, those are exciting.
Cocaine, hookers there. There was hookers on site. People snorting on site. Twice I went down like, this is too much for me.
Wow.
One time, me and Chris, we drove a girl out of there that we grew up with. And then we all went to a hotel and snorted coke till the next day.
So how do they get away with that? Did they make a deal with the cops? They pay the cops off? What do they do?
Probably.
Get everybody to keep their mouth shut? You can't get everybody
This
to
is
keep their
30
mouth
years
shut.
ago.
Right.
So this is a different
world.
mindset.
Yeah.
It was up 181st.
And all the cops were dirty back then.
Yeah.
You would always find dirty cops back then.
You know, I mean, but I don't know how they do it. They figure it out. You have to pay like the battalion chief. You know, it's just
somebody.
You got to pay somebody. You got to pay them good money.
Yeah, you got to give them a piece. So they have a vested interest in keeping the place open.
See, I knew people who had that, but they'd have moving locations every day.
Mm-hmm. So
the cops could never get a hold of you. It's like when you book numbers on the phone. We had to get a new apartment every 3 weeks. not a personal apartment.
Right,
but
to book out of.
To book out of.
Yeah.
So I would get my mom would get an apartment, and then she would get 3 different apartments out of that apartment. So nobody could read what you're doing. Then a month later, next door. Then a month later around the block, then you're back to that fucking building. So you pretty much pay rent on it. All those years, rent was cheap. Now you get fucking
Isn't it crazy how much underground gambling there was with bookies and the numbers? And the numbers was a big one.
Numbers was big. You know, underground casinos. I used to go with my buddy Martin Perez to this judo school. I never wanted to go. I was more of a karate guy. But I would go with him. And it was like this old fucking Japanese guy and this old Cuban dude, and they would throw each other around. There was a Russian guy there. This is the 70s. And up the corner, there was a place where people would play cards. And I found out my stepfather would go there. And one day I went to judo on the way out. As I was walking towards the bus on 7th Street, I saw unmarked cars. I saw like 2 unmarked cars. And when I got home that night, my stepdad was getting ready. I go, where you going? He goes, I'm going to play cards. And I go, you going on to 8th Street? He goes, yeah. I go, don't go down there. He goes, why? I go, because I was down there with Martin, and I saw the fucking 2 unmarked cars down there. And he goes, what the fuck do you know? I go, what do I know? That since I've been fucking 5, I've been learning to be a lookout. Since I'm 5, that's my job, to look, to keep my fucking eyes open. And I would just pick up shit like that. I would just pick up 2 unmarked cars. He didn't go. He thought about it, and he goes, okay, if you saw him, I won't go. Sure enough, the next day I woke up, he gave me $50. He's like, dog, how the fuck did you know? Because I'm telling you, I fucking know.
They got raided?
They didn't know in those days. The cops would go early, and they park like 2 blocks away because they're fucking lazy.
Right.
You know, if you're going to raid somebody, stay the fuck away from there all goddamn day.
Yeah.
Then come in at night. Don't fucking lurk all day. We know. It's like in Goodfellas. They were following them all fucking day with a helicopter. Just bust them, cocksucker.
Yeah. Well, they want to terrorize you before they get you.
Well, they want to see how you respond.
Well, if you're cracked out, you're going to go to try to get rid of something. Or you're going to go to try to hide something.
And they got your phone tapped. They got everything. So they put a cop car in front of your house to see where you react, to see how your reaction would be for the day. And then you start cleaning the house. You know, you call people, get everything out of your house, whatever the fuck it is, and then they come in and, you know. But it's a different world out there now. So I don't know nothing about that fucking world now.
Yeah, it's a different world.
And I don't want to know. Yeah. Because now they'll shoot you just for being there. And then it's, you know,
It's a different world in terms of law enforcement, too.
Yeah.
People are getting out of jail like that now.
And they still won't drop my warrant in fucking Seattle.
You can't even get arrested in Seattle for what you did. You wouldn't even have a record.
You cannot fuck. You can hit somebody with a stick and be out that afternoon.
Yeah, you wouldn't have a record in Seattle.
Dog, I'm still going back and forth with these motherfuckers. That's why I looked before.
So you still can't get your
passport. No. I just sent them the last thing.
If you get a passport and we go overseas, when we do gigs overseas, you will get a passport. We will do this. When you do this, we're going to have to fucking fly in a day early. We're going to make it so, because I don't know if you're even going to be able to get in over there. It might be a hard time once you land.
Where?
Anywhere. UK, anywhere.
Dog.
Canada's a big one. Canada's
not going to take me. We're not going to go to Canada.
Yeah.
And I love Canadians. I got nothing against Canadians. It's the way the country works. They won't let the nicest guy we know has got a DUI and he can't get into Canada. Yeah. But you could pay a tax, like Snoop Dogg. So you're telling me Snoop Dogg can't play Canada? There's a tax you could pay, a little heavy, and then you get out. It's like everybody else. We could all settle this with an envelope.
Well, they get an envelope anyway. When you do a gig in Canada, they get a big tax envelope. You get that in the UK, too.
Dog.
You do a gig in the UK, you're paying.
Let me tell you something. Before 9/11, I was going up to Toronto 2 times a year, okay? I had all these criminal charges, no warrants or anything. My friend from the Miami Improv dated a girl from Buffalo, and he called her father to pick me up at the Buffalo airport, take me to his house, and then cross me over the border. Before 9/11, there was a casino they'd go to. And you just drove in.
Right.
And there was no ID, no nothing. And he would drive me to Toronto. He would drive me to Ontario, and I'd take the bus to Toronto and do the 2 weeks and then come back. But on the way back, I would come on the bus. I would drive those motherfuckers crazy, dog. When I give them my license, they'd start looking at me and they'd go, "When did you come in here?" And I go, "Last week. You were the guy that was working." They would say, "No, I wasn't. I would have never let you come through." "Well, you let me the fuck out now."
Because of your record?
Yeah, they would hold me for like 10 minutes. Like, "How did you get into this country?" And I'm like, "On fucking bus. You guys let me in last week." "No, it was a mistake. We could have never let you in." Dog, I would fuck with them all the time. I tried to do that cute shit during 9/11. They yanked me right the fuck out of there. They were like, "We're not taking this shit."